Hello everyone! Thank you for visiting our channel. Have you ever experienced such like stories? Michael was on cloud 9 with happiness. He had finally been promoted after waiting for several years. And now, he was being transferred to another city closer to the main office. His wife, Caitlyn, had no idea about the upcoming move. Michael was afraid she might react negatively. But Caitlyn agreed obediently to move to another city with her husband, leaving all their friends and relatives behind. She even had to quit her job because her company had no branch in the new place. Michael reassured his wife that his salary would be enough to fully support them, so she didn't need to work. Caitlyn thanked her husband, but said that she couldn't just sit at home. It was too boring for her. Over the next 6 months, Caitlyn tried unsuccessfully to find a job. Endless interviews exhausted the girl, and for a while, she even gave up. Meanwhile, Michael had short but frequent business trips to other cities. Caitlyn missed her husband very much, so she decided to find a new job as soon as possible. Then she would occupy herself and wouldn't feel bored. And luck smiled at her. Literally within a few weeks, she was invited to a very good position in a communication agency. The team was just amazing. The girl was accepted very warmly, new friends appeared, and Caitlyn finally shone. It was very difficult to feel free, especially when your circle of communication is limited only to your husband. Michael was very happy for his wife. He tried in every way to encourage her, even bought subscriptions to various courses. But Caitlyn still missed her work and the thrill of the chase. Finally, her life would become more fulfilling. A month later, Michael went on another business trip. Caitlyn was now busy, so endless phone calls would stop. She had new friends to talk to, but now she was spending more time on her phone. There were some calls in the evenings, constant messages. She read them and giggled. "What's going on, dear?" her husband asked. "Oh, girlfriends sent a funny photo," she replied and went into another room, closing the door behind her. It was time for another trip to another city. This time it wasn't a day or two, but a whole week. Michael returned home in the evening, went up to his floor, and on his way he met a neighbor who joked, "I understand everything. Michael, you seem to be having a second honeymoon with your wife. It's all great, happy for you. But could you at least move the bed away from the wall a little bit? The banging is unbearable. It would be better if you used a drill, I swear." The neighbor laughed at his own joke, patted Michael on the shoulder, and went to his own apartment. Michael went into his own home with a heavy heart. His wife wasn't there yet, so he sat down at the kitchen table and thoughtfully drank the freshly brewed coffee. Suddenly, he heard a woman's laughter at the front door, heard the sound of a key being inserted, and Caitlyn walked into the apartment laughing. She saw her husband's shoes and raised her eyes in surprise. "Oh, Michaela, you're already here. Hi." The man greeted his wife and noticed someone standing behind her. "You're not alone?" the husband asked. "No, I'm with my colleague. Meet David. We work in the same department and have been tasked with developing a project from scratch for a major client." A tall young man in a neat suit and strict coat entered the apartment. His hair was neatly styled, his beard was neatly trimmed, and his open smile could disarm anyone. The men shook hands. "So what were you and David planning to do at our house?" The husband tried not to reveal his suspicions in his tone. "We just had to discuss a few things for work. There was a meeting today, and the deadlines were shortened, so we decided that we needed to hurry." His wife stretched her sentences as if making up a story on the spot. "Caitlyn, why don't you come tomorrow?" The colleague interrupted their conversation. The husband, Michael, became wary. Why did his wife tell her colleague about the business trip? "David, would you like to stay for tea?" Michael tried to be reserved and polite. He needed to get to know his presumed enemy better. "No, thank you. I would just like to have a glass of water before I leave, if possible." Michael approached the cabinet where there was usually a pitcher of water, but it wasn't there. "The pitcher is on the windowsill." David called out and immediately faltered. How could he have known that the pitcher had been moved? The husband identified a suspect, but it was not appropriate to cause a scandal without solid evidence, and he was not the type to act impulsively. He needed substantial proof. The next day, he ordered small hidden cameras and asked his assistant to install them in all the rooms while his wife was not home. The husband still clung to the hope that it was all a misunderstanding and that his wife was faithful to him. After all, they had been together for so many years, living a comfortable life. She had even agreed to move with him to another city where she had neither friends nor a job. But if she did indeed betray him, she would not be able to escape now. The day of the next 2-day business trip was approaching. The husband packed his travel bag, checked multiple times to make sure he didn't forget his smartphone. The camera monitoring app was already installed. He said goodbye to his wife and headed to the train station. Once on the train, Michael turned on the monitoring. His wife was calmly sitting in the kitchen, drinking tea. Then she went to the room and watched TV. For about 15 minutes, the husband watched his wife's actions. Everything was ordinary and boring. Putting aside his phone, he decided to read a book. After about an hour, he started feeling uneasy. He turned on the monitoring again and saw that Caitlyn wasn't alone in the apartment. She was sitting on the couch, and across from her was that same David, wearing only a towel. Michael was ready for this kind of thing. But suddenly, one detail caught his eye. He took a closer look and realized that David was wearing not just any towel, but the same one that his parents gave him and his wife as a wedding gift. The man was enraged, but he could not have expected the next turn of events. Another man came out of the kitchen holding a camera. Unable to watch this debauchery any longer, Michael turned off the monitoring. He sat for a few more minutes, clenching his fists in anger, and then an idea came to his mind. He turned on the app again, saved the video recording, and started texting his unfaithful wife. "Caitlyn, I saw everything. By the time I arrive, you should be out of the apartment. If you don't, know that I will send the video of your little entertainment to everyone, and you will never be able to get a job of the same level again. If you don't believe me, I have attached the video. You can see how you look on camera." A few days later, Michael returned home to find that his wife and her belongings were gone. The apartment was a mess, indicating that she had left in a hurry. Michael felt nothing but betrayal, but at least he had gotten rid of excess baggage. Meanwhile, Caitlyn's life was full of events. That evening, she read a text message from her husband and, with a cry of horror, rushed to the closet to quickly pack her things. She no longer thought about the large fee that David had promised her for appearing in a movie. All she could think about was where she could go since the apartment was not hers. Her new friends were not close enough to take her in, and David was not living alone. Caitlyn decided to stay in a hotel for a while until she could figure out her housing situation. But her problems only increased. David's friend not only failed to pay the full amount, but also uploaded their movie to the internet without permission. And to top it off, her boss wanted to talk to her about something. He silently showed her a video from that same website, handed her a piece of paper and a pen, and told her to write a statement voluntarily. Tears streamed down her face as she complied. Now Caitlyn was not only homeless, but also without means of support. From his acquaintances in his hometown, Michael learned that his ex-wife had moved in with her mother. He felt a sense of justice served. It's true what they say, that you have to pay for all your sins sooner or later. In this case, karma worked immediately. What do you think about this situation? Share your thoughts in the comments. And thank you for listening to the story until the end. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and be sure to like this video, as it will help us promote the channel. All the best.